I made a video about Bridgerton season 4, and the most common response was like, "This is for the girlies, Alex. It's not for you."
This is for the girlies. This is not for you. The most common response, like to the whole video, I gotta see. I don't know a lot about Bridgerton, but I just want to see if it's accurate that most of the comments were, "This one is for the girlies." I'm starting to think you just don't like romance, LOL. Is this what he perceives as it was for the girlies? I don't see anything that really goes with "this is for the girlies." Scrolling a lot of comments, I do not see one that really goes with what he's saying other than romance novels. Would you consider doing a reaction to some Alex Meyers videos? Is that the guy who everyone was mad at about obsessions? I have not ever seen his videos. I've just heard of him. What's wrong with him? What does he do? What does he do that's so bad? Wait, where is it? Did he take it down? Yes, he took it down. He's very surface level in his takes and said some not okay stuff in the Obsession vid. What did he say? What did he say in the Obsession vid? I didn't see Obsession. My brother saw it. He said it was good. Is Millie Bobby Brown okay? Yeah, I feel like that's odd. It's an odd title. Toy Story 4 is even worse than I imagined. What's so bad about Toy Story 4? I like Toy Story 4. I guess Toy Story 4, I'd say I like it the least of all 5 of them, but like I still like it a lot. Toy Story is just a very consistent franchise to me. What are we even doing anymore? Mario Galaxy movie. Does anyone have a recommendation? Like, is there any video of his I should really watch? Because I'd be curious if he's the Obsession guy. That's kind of recent-ish drama. In Obsession, he basically said that he related to the villain who took away another character's autonomy to make her love him. Ah, gotcha. He said some very misogynistic stuff and defended the main character villain for his heinous actions. I see. He keeps saying Crystal Latina mommy about Nikki. Well, that's not polite. Thinly Veiled Incel channel. Dang. I'm kind of drawn to the Mario Galaxy movie one, but I was going to do a CinemaSins stream and I was going to talk about the Mario Galaxy movie. And I think that one would be more fun. But you said that this is like an incel channel. So like he might be more fun for Mario Galaxy movie. I also have a video on the Super Mario Galaxy movie. I had some very strong opinions on it. I thought that it wasn't very good. I thought that it was disappointing that you take a big franchise with a lot of recognizable characters and a unique world like Mario and you just don't tell a good story with it. I think that that's really unfortunate. Let's see if this dude has something similar to say. What are we even doing anymore? Perhaps he agrees with me. The Avatar is pretty bland. Yeah, I'm surprised he's this popular with that Avatar, to be honest. It's a very low personality kind of character. Kind of like doesn't look like a person. It's like kind of a blob. Yeah, I don't think it's very good.
Okay, so remember the Mario movie? Like the first one, I mean? I saw it day one in theaters. I remember it being fine.
Oh, so they got like little animations in their thing. I mean, that takes a lot more effort. Like, you have to do a lot of extra stuff to have little animations in there.
It's a very generic story about Mario dealing with his daddy issues. He hates mushrooms for some reason. Bowser was kind of...
That was a weird cut.
Fine. It's a very generic story about Mario dealing with his daddy issues. He hates mushrooms.
It was like a half-second cut right there in the first 8 seconds. That's odd. I feel like you'd have a lot more production value if you're like animating your guy. You would just mess that up so quick in the beginning. Could be an honest mistake.
But the graphics are so good, Alex. Yes, thank you. But oh my goodness.
It's a bit obnoxious, a bit not my speed for how I would, but the references were so good. Oh, is it like straw man? Is that what it's supposed to be? Is that what this is supposed to portray? Like it's a straw man saying, someone saying, but the references were so good.
I did not know how good we had it until the...
So he's saying I did not know how good we had it with the first Mario movie until the second movie came out.
Second one came out. Like,
is this a common take about the second one? I kind of thought that the second one wasn't as... Would I even call the second one worse than the first one? I think that they were pretty close in terms of shallowness. I guess the second one you could say is worse because it was just so into the spectacle that like I guess nothing came through. So from a surface level, you could probably feel like the first one did more. I could see that. I think what I'm seeing with this kind of thing is that it's prioritizing a lot of exaggeration. Like, we did not know how good we had it until this one. Like, it's just a way of framing it. It's not so bad.
It's just a kid's movie. Alex, what did you expect? Citizen Kane? Nah, I mean, I was just expecting, like an actual movie.
So, okay, so it just said an argument that I hear a lot that I hate this argument. Like, so like I'm on this person's side with this. Like, I've seen literally that argument. I've seen people say, why do you think that SpongeBob should be Titanic? Or why do you think that SpongeBob should be the insert prolific movie? So I have actually seen that. So this person's probably also seen that. So that's probably why they're repeating it.
I was expecting, like an actual movie. No, I mean,
I was expecting an actual movie. So yeah, so like that's not an argument. Like that is very surface level, but you have to actually debunk that. So this is a common problem with like just any sort of argument of anything is someone else said, oh, it's just a kid's movie. And you said, yeah, but I think it should have been good movie. But you're not saying why that matters. So I think that something that is kind of missing from, and again, this is probably not the only person who makes this mistake. It's probably very common. But I think what's missing from some analysis like that is that, like, my response to that is not, oh, but like it should have been good or this. Like, my response to that would be, why do you think kids deserve bad media? That is my response when someone says, oh, it's just a kid's movie, or oh, it's just a kid's show. Why do you think kids deserve bad media? Like, why do you think kids are stupid? It's really that simple of a response.
Check out the Super Mario Galaxy movie with my new friend Jonathan Strawman. The Mario
Oh, it is supposed to be a Strawman. Okay. I got what he was going for.
But more than that, I just feel like this movie is the latest symptom of a much bigger problem that we.
So, I mean, that's a thesis. I feel like this movie is the symptom of a much bigger problem. Means that there's a thesis that it's going into. The video has a specific thesis, so I think that's fine.
Okay, wait, hold on. Back up a second. So if this Luma is sucking on a pacifier, does that mean that Luma's breastfeed? This opens.
Oh, okay. So he's stealing a joke from Reddit. Cool. That's not criticism. That's a joke he found on Reddit. I just can't imagine sitting down and writing into a script a joke that I clearly saw somewhere else and passing it off as my own. I just can't imagine doing that.
Of a whole new world of fan art, I'll tell you that. Rosalina has the upper hand, but then Bowser Jr. goes for the baby Lumas as a distraction and kidnaps Rosalina because she's nothing without her magic wand.
So there's a lot of like padding, right? Feels very patty. Let's see if there's more like padding. It just seems like he just explained a lot that wasn't really necessary, and there's a lot of footage.
No one hurts my kid.
So much footage.
Go.
How much of this footage are you gonna play?
Go.
Never mind. So she can just do that, I guess. This movie are very clearly presented to us.
I'm confused. What was the criticism there?
Okay, wait, hold on. Back up a second. So if this Luma is sucking on a pacifier, does that mean that
he steals a joke from Reddit,
attacks in his giant robot? It seems like
and then Bowser Jr. attacks in his giant robot.
Rosalina has the upper hand, but then Bowser Jr. goes for the baby Lumas as a distraction and kidnaps Rosalina because she's nothing without her magic wand.
Yeah, there was a lot of like details. Like, do you need to say Bowser Jr. attacks with a giant robot? Like, do you need to say he attacks the baby Lumas as a distraction? Like, why don't you just say it starts with Rosalina getting kidnapped? Like, that would save you so much time. If you look at mine, the Mario Galaxy movie is everything wrong with movies. One way that I did my Mario Galaxy movie video is you'll see chapter 1 Rosalina, and it's because every chapter was about a different character or like characters. Like I think I did Mario and Luigi in one. Instead of just going through the plot, which I felt would have been too recappy, like I'm just going like, here's what's wrong with the first scene, here's what's wrong with the second scene. I actually had a broader thesis about how each character was used like incorrectly. Is my how I did the video.
Of all the characters in the movie, I would say that the one that behaved the most opposite to what I expected was Rosalina. First off, she was barely in the movie. I mean, she had less screen time than Fox, and he's not even in this franchise. The reason that she was in so little of the movie is because her role was relegated to damsel in distress. So notice how I just said the reason she was in so little of the movie is because her role was relegated to damsel in distress. Notice how I didn't say the movie starts with Rosalina reading to the Lumas. Ha, stolen Reddit joke. Then she gets attacked by a giant robot. Then the robot tries to attack the Lumas. Then she gets kidnapped. Like, I just say she was a damsel in distress because that's the actual thing that I'm criticizing, because I understand the element of the movie that I am being critical of. I'm not critical of the fact that Rosalina was attacked by a giant robot. That would have been fine if the movie was well written. So why would I need to even bring it up? And I think that this is just the product of just not being a very skilled reviewer. I don't think it's like no villains are safe tier. And maybe this person is a very skilled reviewer in a lot of ways. I mean, I've only watched 2 minutes and 30 seconds of a video of theirs. It's a bit of a harsh condemnation from seeing so little. But, you know, I do think that that does speak to like, what am I saying with this movie? I don't know. Let's just like describe some more stuff than we need to.
Kidnaps Rosalina because she's nothing without her magic wand.
Okay, so he says she's nothing without her magic wand. He puts in way too much footage that I don't know how he didn't get copyrighted for, and shows like Rosalina blows up a bunch of the guys when she gets kidnapped and taken to the Bowser planet. She blows up a bunch of things with like no magic wand. Was it established that her magic wand was the source of her power? I feel like she just is powerful. Don't they like lock her in a thing for the movie where she can't use her powers to get out? Like, isn't that kind of the point?
Never mind. So she can just do that, I guess. This movie are very clearly presented to us.
What did that say? What was that even phrasing?
So she can just do that, I guess. This movie are very clearly presented to us. What?
This movie or very clearly presented to us. Okay, I don't know what that means. So she could just do that, I guess. Are you saying that she should have been able to escape because she had like magic powers? Again, you're just focusing on the wrong things. You know, you're focusing on this like, first of all, no. This is the Eagles in Lord of the Rings. It's like people misunderstood what I meant when I talked about why saying that why can't the Eagles fly Frodo to Mordor is media illiterate. It is media illiterate in 2 ways. It's that, one, you are ignoring the actual text of the story, which is the Eagles literally can't take him to Mordor beforehand because he has the ring and the ring would tempt the Eagles. That's the textual reason. So you're ignoring that. And you're trying to find this logical inconsistency while ignoring the point of the story. So both of those things work together. Neither one works without the other. If that actually was a logical inconsistency, the Eagles taking them to Mordor or Rosalina being able to escape, if that actually was a logical inconsistency, of course that would be a problem with the story. It would make the story harder to swallow because the story wouldn't make as much sense and you wouldn't be able to believe the story and the suspension of disbelief would be shattered, and then you're not engaging with the lessons and all that yada yada yada. But the other bigger issue, I think, with this kind of media analysis is that you are looking for a logical inconsistency. So, like, Alex Meyers watched this movie and could feel that there was something wrong with it, because there is something wrong with it. I watched my video on it. There's a lot wrong with the Mario Galaxy movie. But I think he struggled to really put into words what was wrong with it, with that story stuff, because it's hard to put that all into words and understand what it is, but he just knew that there was something wrong with it. So with that, he's looking for criticisms. Now he's in criticism mode. He's in, I need to find things wrong with it. And that's where we get into CinemaSins territory. That's where we get into, wait, Rosalina could blow up all these guys. Why didn't she do it before? It's like, well, they had her in a thing where she was all locked up with her hands, and then yeah, she broke out of it, but it was because they were attacking the Luma, so there was an adrenaline. Like, it all makes sense. It's fine. Like, sure, maybe it makes a little bit of a stretch. It's like, oh, if she had all these powers the whole time, sure, whatever. But like, I think that the movie actually made an effort to make that make sense. So to put it in the video as a criticism that is on par with what his thesis was, which was, there is a real issue with movies these days, and the Mario Galaxy movie is a symptom of that. the whole it not making sense that they captured Rosalina because she's strong, that doesn't really unless that is your thesis, which I don't think it is. I'm sure the thesis will be more elegant than that.
And they find Yoshi inside an old pyramid from Mario Odyssey. What?
Who is this? Yoshi.
Who could resist that fate?
So much footage.
Okay, I actually thought this line was kind of funny.
And he puts in a very long clip of a thing where Yoshi eats the candy apple, and then he says, what?
So some cool dinosaur just shows up and he's now part of the group.
Okay, I actually thought this line was kind of funny. And that's one of the...
You thought that line was kind of funny? The most generic, that just happened moment. Like, okay, like, I don't think it's the worst line in the world. Like, I don't think it's like unbearably cringe or something, but like, I don't think I would look at that line that is the most like sitcom-y, well, dinosaurs your friend now, and go that line to the point where I would like point it out. Like, that's just saying things to say things, you know? Like, I think what that is he knew he had to address, because he's going in order and he feels like every major plot point he has to say a thing about. But like, if you don't have anything to say about Yoshi, you could just not really talk about Yoshi. Like, it's fine. Or if you don't have anything to say about like them finding Yoshi, like, it's fine. Like, I had a section in my video about Yoshi, and I kind of like discussed how Yoshi wasn't really used very well in the movie, and he was kind of like just thrown in, and it was kind of an indication of how there should have been a Super Mario World movie in between, and then that would have focused on Yoshi, and then he could have been more suited as a character who takes more of a backseat in the Mario Galaxy movie. That was kind of my take on Yoshi. But just being like, yeah, the Mario Brothers find Yoshi. It's weird that they use Odyssey, already common, you know, not a unique thought. And this one line was funny. Like, that's the extent of the analysis that we're getting here.
most frustrating parts of this movie is that there's these tiny kernels of like a really funny idea or a joke or whatever, but like...
Wait, you're using that as an example of a tiny kernel of a really funny idea or a joke? No, man, it's a sitcom that just happened moment. What are you talking about? Toxic positivity. I use that term.
So I've been doing these videos for almost 10 years now, right? And I've really noticed a big change on the internet in the last couple of them. Recently, I've seen this weird push where all criticism of media in general is just brushed aside like, you're just being a hater. I made a video about Bridgerton season 4, and the most common response was like, this is for the girlies, Alex, it's not for you. And like,
this is for the girlies, this is not for you. I don't know what this show is. So someone was saying that the obsession thing was like misogyny, right? People were saying that. I don't know that much about this person, so it's hard for me to really make a judgment.
And the most common response was like, this is for the girlies, Alex.
And the most common response was like to the whole video. I gotta see. So that Bridgerton season 4 finale. I don't know a lot about Bridgerton, but I just want to see if it's accurate that most of the comments were, this one is for the girlies, and maybe try to see if that is an accurate representation of what was being said. People are just saying disagree, but that's not an argument. I'm trying to find what is the... If it's the most common response was this one is for the girlies, I don't see a lot of it. This video should be titled, "Tell me you didn't really watch the show without telling me you didn't watch the show." Again, I don't know. I don't know the show. I don't know this video, so I don't know if this person's correct. People are mad that he compared it to Riverdale. That's the most common response actually to this particular video, is people are mad he compared it to Riverdale, another show I didn't watch. About the uninteresting happy ending, this is based on romance novels, and even though they obviously changed so many details, the show is still at its core a sappy romance. It's not meant to be interesting or thought-provoking. It's supposed to be a pretty show that you watch while eating ice cream and chocolate. But I do agree Sophie and Benedict's ending was rushed and really stupid, LOL. Yeah, I think that this... I mean, it doesn't say this was for the girlies, as he put it. But this is like kind of a comment that I... Like, if I got a comment that was similar to this, I would probably have like some agreement, some disagreement. Like I think that things should be pretty much always interesting or thought provoking, but at the same time, there is a place for something that is like a sappy romance. Like I do think that there's a place in the world for like rom-coms. Like I think that like there is a valid place for like a movie that is a rom-com where you just sit and you enjoy the relationship between the two people. And I do think that that is a valid story. I think that still tells a story. It still has character arcs, it still has lessons, it still has things that matters. So I think that this commenter is probably under the impression that something being a sappy romance is at odds with it being interesting or thought-provoking, when actually those things are not at odds. It can be both of those things. Like I think that this is definitely a bit of a shallow take, but there is a correctness to holding something that is supposed to be a rom-com or a sappy romance to a standard that it shouldn't be held to. So this might be perhaps what he's talking about, saying this is based on romance novels. Like I feel like perhaps the whole conflation of this is for the girlies is going that this person is criticizing that this is based on romance novels, saying, oh, well, like the girlies like romance novels. And this person saying, oh, I don't get it because I don't read romance novels, when they aren't actually listening to the criticism that this person is trying to say that's good faith, and also understanding where this person is incorrect in their analysis. I already know what this guy has to say. It's always the same. I watched the show in the background while I was doing other stuff, so I skipped all the important scenes for those characters' arcs. I misunderstood them. It's the same with every show he watches, unfortunately. He'd be more fun. Oh, this seems like a common viewer. Do you think that's what's going on? Is that this dude doesn't pay enough attention to what he's watching? It must be hard to review a lot of TV shows. I mean, I only review a handful of stuff. Because it is true, I only want to review stuff if I really watch a lot of it. I guess that wouldn't exactly apply to his Mario Galaxy movie review. A movie's a little easier, but a TV show, you could have that issue. Where if you don't pay enough attention to it and then you review it, you could miss stuff. Like, it is a job, you know, and I think if you're under a lot of pressure to put out videos really often, especially on something like the 4th season of a show, like, I don't know. I'm starting to think you just don't like romance, LOL. Is this what he perceives as it was for the girlies? I don't see anything that really goes with this is for the girlies. Alex needs to realize that he's hating romance and comparing the show to Riverdale of all things. It's clear that romance is not his jam. Okay, so I think he's conflating girlies with liking romance. I think that that's what this is. Scrolling a lot of comments, I do not see one that really goes with what he's saying other than romance novels. I'm still giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm still looking. I really am still looking. This season was a masterpiece. People just saying they liked the thing that he didn't like. There's got to be one person who says it was just for women. Right? There's got to be one person that fits the description that he said. Still going. I will have to disagree with your analysis. Nope. Still going. Mad about a Riverdale comparison. I'm reading every comment on a video about a show that I didn't watch. This is where we're at here. I feel like I could just call it, but I just keep looking at comments. I don't think we're going to find it. Should I just call it? I could call it here, right? So no one said the thing that he said. Right, no one said the thing that he said.
This is for the girlies, Alex. It's not for you.
I just waded through so many comments. I did not see a single one that said anything like that. There was no, this is for the girlies, it's not for you. There was like 3 that said, you just don't like romance plots. And I think he's conflating that with this is for the girlies, it's not for you with this. Like when I say in my videos that there were people who said it's just a kid's show, bro, and I was criticizing how people say it's just a kid's show, I'm literally thinking of actual comments I read when I say that. You know, like when I make that kind of statement of people say that. So yeah, that is odd. That is very odd.
Same thing with the Mario Galaxy movie, where like the most common defense is like, it's a kid's movie. Don't think too hard about it. It's not for you.
That's funny because the thing that he was comparing it to was not what people said. But with the Mario Galaxy movie, that is a common response. Yes, I do. I don't know if it's the most common. I mean, I guess the most common disagreement. That's probably the most common disagreement. The most common response would be, I agree with you. Good video. That's the most common response that I get on most of my videos. Yeah, weird comparison.
I actually find these kind of arguments so bizarre. Like with girl movies or TV shows or whatever, it's like...
With girl movies or TV shows or whatever. Okay. All right. We're getting spicy. We're getting spicy here. Just when I thought that this was going to be boring. When we get to girl movies.
There's been this push for decades to have them treated as the legitimate movies that they are. But then when someone like me comes along and views and criticizes them in the same vein as any other movies, suddenly it turns into, but I'm just a girl. And therefore, I should not view them as legitimate movies. Now with the...
Again, there was not a single comment that was like that. It literally just said, you don't like the romance genre. That's literally what it said. And again, like the romance genre can have things that are like legitimate storytelling things. Like I saw with my fiance, we went and saw, it was a chick flick. We saw You, Me, and Tuscany in the movie theater. Yeah, it was like near Valentine's Day. So it was like kind of a cute thing. And we saw, when we watched the SpongeBob movie, we saw this ad for this rom-com and it was like a couples thing. It was like, yeah, let's go see this rom-com. And of course it was cheesy. Of course there were parts of it that were silly and cheesy. And you could even analyze some of that stuff, like how, it was all about, you know, like the fantasy of meeting a guy in Italy. That was the movie, you know, but the movie had like, it had themes. It had a character arc. Like the main character in the movie was like overcoming like her own insecurities. Like she wanted to be a chef. Through like the love interest, through the story, there was like, you know, that was a part of it. And like, I think that kind of what is being like conflated here is that he is criticizing these movies that I guess would have more of a female target audience. Because like that movie that You, Me, and Tuscany, I'm sure that has more of a female target audience. I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I really did. I had a wonderful movie experience. I did. Would I have seen it if I wasn't in a relationship? Probably not. But I didn't not like it. Like, you know, and the fact that I was there with my partner was like, you know, that was a part of it. It was like cute. And, you know, we had a great time. And I think that what the problem is that like, let's say I did a review on that movie, on You, Me, and Tuscany, but my review of the movie was just me pointing out like logical issues akin to how he pointed out the logical issue with Rosalina, you know, like these kind of surface level comparisons, and then saying from those surface level comparisons, the whole movie is trash without like giving an argument. That's kind of my assumption on how this goes. Again, I've seen 5 minutes of his one video. Like, you know, I am extrapolating a lot here, but you go from that and then you get these responses that are like, hey, like maybe you just didn't appreciate that it was a rom-com. And like, that's what I did when I saw You, Me, and Tuscany is like, oh, I get it. The point of this movie is for someone to watch it and feel the romantic tension that the two main characters are feeling. And by the way, that is valuable. That has social good. There is a social benefit to watching a movie where people fall in love with each other because it examines the social interactions of people in love. That makes us better as people. Having romantic relationships makes society stronger because it's a way that people work together to live better lives, and en masse, that makes things better. That is the social function of a rom-com. That's why it exists. And when you have a rom-com where the characters get together at the end, the way that the characters get together is that they have to change. They have to be different people by the end of the movie when they actually get together, because if they didn't change throughout the movie, well, they wouldn't have gotten together. You have to change to get with anyone. So if you're someone who like doesn't resonate with that genre and you're criticizing it for other means and people are telling you, no, you should give the genre a chance, it might come off as, oh, like it's just the girlies or whatever he said. Now, another problem is that I'm sure the commenters that argue this to Alex Meyers, like as the ones we looked at, they just said, oh, you just don't like romance. But they didn't explain why. They didn't explain what I just said, why romance is a valuable kind of story. In fact, that one person I think was counter to that. They said, oh, well, like, yeah, it's just a romance story. Like you just like turn your brain off and think like, haha, like I'm eating ice cream and watching the romance movie. And like that actually, that you're not making your case very well. You're actually giving ammunition to someone like this to argue against the existence of romance movies. They shouldn't argue against the existence of romance movies because romance movies are fine. Like you shouldn't be arguing, oh, romance movies don't have value and that's okay. You should be arguing romance movies have value. They're a little lighter than most other movies that you might be used to, but they have value and this is the value. That is the kind of argument that a person like this cannot debunk, because there really is no argument against this. Or they'll just not debunk it and then they'll go, but the girlies, like, because that's sometimes what people do when they're given evidence that they're wrong and they don't want to admit it.
And wishing for anything else is just, grown man upset about kids movie. It's all part of this.
He's identifying the problem, but he's not identifying the real reason why. Let's see if he does.
Really confusing trend I see where like critical thinking and internalizing the media we consume is like frowned upon now. There's this social
frowned upon now. That this has always been a problem. This is a gross frame. I don't want to say on it. Is it a particular problem now? I think this has always been a problem. I think this has always been a problem. I think it's just that the internet didn't exist before, but people always said this. In fact, it probably used to be worse, if I had to guess. Because I know, I guess one comparison I could draw it to is that there was a time where television was considered like worse, way worse than movies. Like nowadays, being a movie star is probably still considered being better than like a TV star. But like nowadays with prestige television, there's like, oh, that's a television show that is taken really seriously. But there was a time where it was like, if you were an actor or if you were in Hollywood, it was like two tiers. It was like your movies or your TV. And they were like very far apart from each other. And then bigger shows like Lost or Breaking Bad or The Sopranos, they broke that standard. And I think that's also kind of similar to this with like kids stuff. So I don't know why he's saying now. Now is weird. So like it's now to him because he's been a professional YouTuber for, as he said, 10 years. Like he wasn't around 20 years ago because he was probably a kid. This person's probably close to my age, if I had to guess. But he wasn't there 20 years ago, like really understanding the nuances of the media landscape to the point where he can really make a judgment that there is something that is making people now defend this kind of mediocrity. Whereas defending mediocrity was always the problem, and it's just allowing mediocrity to fester, if that makes sense.
This movie took my attention away from my phone for 90 minutes. That means it's good.
Oh, anyway, back to the movie. So that was the toxic positivity section? Yeah, that wasn't enough. Toxic positive, like if I were to say something similar about toxic positivity towards the Mario movie. So look, he stated a problem, but he didn't say why. So the reason that people say it's just a kid's movie, like it's not that deep. The reason that people say this is because I think it's rooted in insecurity. Like, I think that's why people say, oh, it's just for kids. It's not that deep. I think it's rooted in an insecurity. I think it's rooted in someone feeling bad that they don't have the same critical eye for media that the person that they're watching does, and they deflect by saying, well, it's just for kids, because they don't have an actual defense. Because there really kind of isn't one. Now, at the same time, I don't think that there's anything wrong with like that someone enjoyed like the Mario movie or enjoys modern SpongeBob. I think like that's fine, because there are things about it that you enjoy where it's like, oh, like you liked seeing the voice acting performances or the characters moving on screen, or like even some of the moments could have been good. Like it's just that as a whole, it failed as a product. And the reviewer is pointing that out, and you didn't think that when you watched it. And that makes you feel insecure. So you go into this, it's just for kids, when you don't have a real argument. When really what it should be is, don't feel bad. There's nothing wrong with that you enjoyed something, and try to actually engage with the criticism that is being levied at the thing, and maybe you'll be able to come out of it. You'll be able to come out of it being able to learn those things that you didn't understand that made you not able to identify them in the first place. Another reason I think that there is this sort of toxic positivity is that I think that we just want things to be good. Like I felt this when I watched the Mario Galaxy movie. When I sat in the theater, I really wanted it to be good. I didn't want it to be bad just so I could make a video about it that was sensationalist. Like I really didn't. Like I saw the new SpongeBob movie back in December, and I remember that it was good and I enjoyed it. And the thing that I thought when I walked out after having enjoyed it is, oh man, my video on this movie is not going to get as many views because I liked it. Like I literally thought that as I was leaving. I still was so glad to see a SpongeBob movie that came out last year, had a good story, that it was enjoyable, that it was that I thought that it was a successful product. Like that meant a lot to me, you know? And I think with the Mario Galaxy movie, that would have meant a lot to me too if that were a good product. Of course it wasn't, and I am objective to the point where I'd be able to figure that out. But I think a lot of people aren't that objective. I think that they really wanted it to be good, so they latch on to those parts that were good. And they also need to find a reason to be okay with it being bad. And this, it's just for kids, I think helps them rationalize that. And it allows them to enjoy the existence of this movie, because visualizing a better world is hard. You know, like visualizing a media landscape where the Mario movies are good and how we would get there is very difficult. Just accepting that it's just a kid's movie, these are how kids' movies are, is easy. And I think that's why people want to do it. And I think that just saying, there's this trend where people go, it's just a kid's movie, and then not really, and just animating them with a funny face and then not really getting into why people feel that way, I think is just not productive.
One of the Lumas that escaped Bowser Jr.'s ship lands in Peach's castle.
Princess, or Gary.
To do whatever.
Oh yeah, I forgot he was doing like a ton of recapping.
This little guy just said. Meanwhile, Mario and Luigi are tasked with taking care of the Mushroom Kingdom and watching over Bowser, who's been shrunk down via one of those like annoying mini blue mushrooms.
I made a.
One of those annoying mini blue mushrooms. Oh, that's actually kind of funny. Wait, that's so funny. Wait, this is, as a Mario player, that is so funny. That is so funny what kind of a self-report this just was. I have to explain for anyone who's never played New Super Mario Bros. How funny that is.
Who's been shrunk down via one of those like annoying mini blue mushrooms.
He literally just admitted that he's bad at New Super Mario Bros. He just admitted that he's bad at the game because a mini mushroom. So here's how mini mushrooms work in New Super Mario Bros. A mini mushroom turns Mario mini. It turns him really small. And when you're mini, you can you jump like really high, and you can slip through stuff. You know, you're less likely to get hit by enemies because you're so small, but also you die in one hit because you're mini. You don't have a power up. You don't have another power up that keeps you from dying. So you're much more likely to die, and you can't kill enemies unless you ground pound them, which is you press down as you're on top of an enemy, and Mario has to he goes down really fast, and that's the only way you can kill enemies. So if you are a bit of a noob at New Super Mario Bros, you would hate the mini mushroom. You would not want to go around with the mini. Like when I was a little kid, the mini mushroom, there's like certain like secret exits and pipes that you can only go in if you have a mini mushroom. So like, if you need to get a certain star coin, you might need a mini mushroom. So you have to be mini, and the challenge is to get to the spot as Mini Mario. So like when I was a kid, I would be like, oh no, like I die so easily, I can't kill the enemies. Oh, that's awful. But when you're good at the game, the mini mushroom is actually something that makes you like better at the game because you're faster. You can float in the air with the platforming. If you're really good at dodging enemies and you can time your ground pounds, the mini mushroom, when you get it, you can keep it through multiple levels. Like I was actually playing New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I was replaying it with my fiance, and I got a mini mushroom, and I like kept it through levels, and I was like flying through the levels with the mini mushroom because I'm good at the game. So it's just so funny that he called it annoying because it means that he's bad at the game. I don't know. I just kind of wanted to roast him a little bit for that.
I made a masterpiece for Princess Peach.
Why are you showing the footage that everyone saw in the trailer? Let's see if this is a part of the criticism.
What do you think?
The criticism I'd give you is it's trash.
Well, that is ironic for you to say, Mario.
I guess that was kind of a statement. It's kind of just a random joke, but I do think it's odd too. Also, it's a joke everyone's made. Like this is another Reddit thing. Like you've seen that on Reddit where it's like critics of the Mario Galaxy movie and it's Mario saying it's trash. Like it's been said, but it's very unoriginal. Like I just can't picture myself like putting together a Mario Galaxy movie video and putting in extended footage that was in the trailer that everyone saw and then just making a common Reddit joke. I just can't wrap my head around it.
I need my 8 hours or else I really turn into a monster.
So right after
Is this No Villains Are Safe? Why is there all this footage? You're like a 4 million subscriber channel. Are you serious? Channels this big just put in that over amount of footage? No wonder people like complain about like copyright. Like, I'm sorry, like there are times where, and I'm saying this just as I was dealing with the Ozzy Fox stuff. I had my first video ever get blocked because of copyright, and it's because of Ozzy Fox's nonsense. Trying to like quell like misinformation. I was reporting on it, how it used AI and all that. It was a whole thing, this whole drama. Anyway, like YouTubers complain like all the time. They're like, these big companies are silencing my criticism of their movies because they're copywriting me. It's like, I don't know, man. Maybe if you use like 8 seconds of a joke that you didn't write and then just go, I thought that joke was kind of funny. I don't know. Maybe you deserve to get copyrighted. Maybe you are taking someone else's intellectual property and passing it off as your own at that point. Like, but there's no meaningful way to go after extended uses of footage without going after someone like me. So like, I don't think that it should get that cracked down on because I'd be pretty afraid of the actual consequences of that. That could harm like genuine reviews. So like they're going to keep getting away with it. But I think I'm just going to criticize that person to person. Like if you're making a channel, you should only put in the footage that's like absolutely necessary.
And I will say, the fight scene here is pretty cool.
The fight scene here is really cool. What's cool about it? Can you examine the fight scene? Can you say more than it's really cool? Because that's not really analysis.
I guess I'm just in like a really tiny minority of people who don't really care about like, whoa, look at the graphics. Like for a long time now, CG movies have looked really good. Like no joke, I would rather have 10 more movies like Monster House, assuming they have the same level of writing and characters and humor and all that.
Put up some art. Well, Dad, why don't you kiss my hairy butt? Hey, DJ, got any beer?
Then that must be the uvula.
Okay, now they're just stealing jokes from Monster House. But okay, so it's like kind of a cold take. Like, again, this is like everyone says this. Oh yeah, I'd rather have a movie that doesn't look as good, but is better written than a movie that really looks good and is not well written. Everyone says this. Why are you passing this off like you're the first man who ever had this thought? Like, And I get it. Like in every review, in every video, if you're talking for 20 minutes, I'm sure you can nitpick some of my videos. You said something that a lot of other people have said too. Like I said, I just did a video on the Moana live action remake, and a central part of that video was about how the live action characters, like something like Tamatoa in the Moana live action, does not read as well as the animated Tamatoa for like so many different reasons of suspension of disbelief. I am not the only person who has said this. I am not the only person who has said this about Moana. I am not the only person who has said this about Disney live action remakes. It's a very common thing that people say. However, I went really in depth with that and tried to identify the reason why this happens and ways that it could get fixed and all this sort of stuff. I think I had a lot of unique stuff on top of that criticism that everyone already knows. And also it was just within a video that had a lot of other stuff to say. Like when every single take you have is either this fight scene looked cool, that joke was funny, this doesn't make any sense that Rosalina could do this. Like when every criticism you have for 6.5 minutes is surface level, there's really not much that we can take from this. I don't know. I'll just see if it's thesis that it set up in the beginning that I thought was a good thesis. Let's see if that comes to pass.
Man, we never see Yoshi's cloaca. How am I ever going to get my money?
Ew. I'd rather him steal jokes from Reddit. It's also like kind of trying to like be gross, you know, like it started with the breastfeeding thing. And now it's like, this is just a thing with people who aren't funny. Like people who aren't funny default to dirty humor. And it's unfortunate because there's so much potential for like dirty jokes. Like I'm a big fan of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like that's a lot of like dirty jokes that are like pretty solid because they're well written. They're good comedians who can use that well. But I think it's just like, I'm not very funny. I need to find a joke and defaults to something gross.
Bowser Jr. sends everyone to a different planet, and coincidentally, now Bowser is free.
Wait, what did he say?
Coincidentally, now Bowser is free.
Coincidentally, now Bowser is free. Are you acting like that's a contrivance? The castle got destroyed. What are you talking about? That's not a coincidence. It's the castle got destroyed by Bowser Jr., and that freed Bowser because he was imprisoned in the castle. That's not coincidentally at all.
Hit him. Ha! Hit me now! You tiny, pathetic failure of a blubber!
So much footage.
So the conceit is that Mario needs to hit Bowser so the mini power-up wears off, but we saw him slam his tail in the door earlier, so...
Not the CinemaSins. Not the CinemaSins. Oh my goodness. How many views did this get? 571,000. You're complaining about people not looking deeper at media and saying it's just a kid's movie, but then your extent of the criticism is Bowser turned big when he got hurt by Mario, but he didn't turn big when he slammed his tail in the door. Yeah, sure. Why didn't he just punch himself in the face? And I don't know. Maybe because that's not how the mini mushroom works. Maybe because the mini mushroom is only shown to turn someone big again when they get hit by someone else. It wouldn't be a very effective way to imprison Bowser if that was how it worked. I guess you could levy this criticism. But like at this point, like, should we even have a story? Should you even have any magic in any story if you poke these kind of holes in it? And it's funny because you kind of could criticize that moment. Like, you know what? It's funny because I don't criticize it for this, but the mini mushroom doesn't actually work that way. Like in the games, like I said earlier, if you have a mini mushroom and you get hit by an enemy, you die. You don't turn back into being big. The mini mushroom doesn't work like a regular power-up. When you get hit, you turn back to normal. The mini mushroom, you die if you get hit. The movie changed this. And it's actually a bit confusing the way that they changed it, because in the first Mario movie, we do see that where Mario gets a mini mushroom and then he gets hit by Donkey Kong and then he turns back to normal. And in that one, you could kind of get it from context. Like it was like, okay, like I guess in this version, it just turns him back. In the second one, it is a bit jarring because there's this whole scene where Bowser is trying to get Mario to hit him and you don't really get why, because if you've played the games, you're not associating getting hit as the mini mushroom as what makes you get big again. So it's a little confusing. I don't remember if they had a line where they said, oh yeah, if Bowser gets hit with the mini mushroom, he loses the power up and he goes back to normal. It's very clunky. And that's actually the criticism that you should make about the mini mushroom thing. And even with all of that, I still forgive it. I still think that that was a good moment, that Mario gave in to his base desires and hit Bowser, and that made him turn back to normal, and that caused all of the problems with Bowser doing all of his Bowser stuff. I actually think that that was one of the few times in the movie that we had a genuine character moment. And you're here criticizing that based on Bowser hit his tail earlier. Wouldn't that have made him big? Unbelievable.
Environmental hazards only don't count. This movie's literally unwatchable.
Were you being sarcastic?
Count. This movie's literally unwatchable.
I don't understand. Who are you referring to?
Environmental hazards only don't count.
Environmental hazards only don't count? I think it would mean that hitting yourself wouldn't count. That's what that's how I would see it, is you don't lose a power up. Like, does Mario lose the fire power up if he stubs his toe? Like, when you lose a power up, you get like hit really hard. Like it's the thing that will kill you. If you have if you have no power up, you die by hitting a Goomba. But if you have a fire flower, you lose the fire flower. So if it's something that would literally kill you if you were less powerful, then yeah, I think like you'd have to get hit pretty hard. So I guess the implication would just be that Mario hit Bowser really hard and that made the power up wear off. And slamming your tail. Anyway, but that's not even what I was talking about. But
This movie's literally unwatchable.
He said this movie's literally unwatchable, and he said it almost sarcastically. But it seemed like you were making a real criticism there. And also, if you are going to say that sarcastically, this movie's literally unwatchable, and you're going to say it sarcastically, wouldn't you be referring to someone who actually made that criticism? Maybe someone did make that criticism, and you're making fun of them. But you've made so many surface level criticisms like that, like the breastfeeding thing, that like I think that you're serious. Oh, it's very weird.
This is sarcasm.
Okay, I guess it is sarcasm. I guess that wasn't a real criticism. It's just very unfunny. Wait, but then why did you say it? Like, are you criticizing Cinema Sins tier criticisms? Because your video isn't about criticizing Cinema Sins tier criticisms. Your video is actually about being more critical of stuff. So I don't know. I think it's just he saw an opportunity to make a joke based on where he was recapping the movie, and then he just kind of did. And it just played out really clunkily.
So when they meet the queen, she's mad that they ruined her flower garden, and so she's gonna send everyone to like the lithium fields or whatever bees make. And then Bowser just
The lithium fields. Is that a common phrase? It's honey mines in the actual movie, but lithium fields is weird. You know, being funny is really hard when you have a quota of jokes. There are ways to get around it, but I think what this person's issue is, other than the fact that they aren't very funny, and that's a problem, that you just aren't very funny, that you don't have a very good idea of like how comedy works. But another issue is I feel like this person's videos, he feels like he has to make a joke at the end of every like criticism. So he almost has like a quota of jokes. This is a problem that a lot of sitcoms run into. This is why in a lot of like sitcoms from like 20, 30 years ago, you see a lot of poorly aged jokes that are like just about like groups of people. We all know the kinds of jokes, right? And the reason that a lot of these jokes happen beyond, you know, prejudice is that jokes like that are very easy to make. And when you have a quota of jokes, you got to like make some kind of joke and it's like, I don't know, like let's just make fun of a group of people, you know, or something like that. Or a dirty joke. Like that's another reason that a dirty joke will happen. So I think the reason that we're getting a lot of really unfunniness is that this person is trying to like make jokes. They feel like making jokes is a part of how they are successful. Like if you watch my videos, there are times where I make jokes. Like I made quite a few in the Moana live action video. Like there's a lot of little quips that I had every so often, but I never go into my video going, I need to write X amount of jokes here, because the point of my videos is not comedy. The point of my videos is inform people. And every so often, if I see the opportunity to be funny, I understand the value of comedy, of making people pay attention more, of making people like you more. And these are things that are valuable to analyzing media. I feel like this person thinks of himself almost as much that he's a comedy channel as much as he is an analysis channel. And I feel like that might also be something that someone like this would hide behind if called out for certain takes. Like, oh, I'm just like a guy on the internet trying to be like funny. I don't know if they do. I don't know if they've said that. I'm not saying that that's something they've said, but sometimes you get into that territory, not taking yourself seriously enough because you're like, oh, I'm just a funny, quirky guy.
And then Bowser just storms right in anyway, and the problem is solved literally 30 seconds later.
Why is he criticizing parts of the movie that were good? I don't get. You're 8 minutes in. There are so many things you can criticize about this movie. Why are you criticizing the speed in which Bowser does this? Like, what you could criticize about this is that Bowser makes this big stand to try and redeem himself and say, I will go to the honey mines because I did a bad thing, and Mario and Luigi should go off on their adventure and they should stop my son and all this sort of stuff. And then he like goes back on it. You could even say he goes back on it literally 30 seconds later. Like, you could say that Bowser's characterization is a bit inconsistent. There are parts of it that are done okay, where Bowser like has kind of an internal struggle, but like there's a lot of inconsistency with like, is Bowser evil? Is he not evil? Like, the movie basically would just be like, Bowser's evil because this scene, it's better for him to be evil. And in this scene, it's better for him to be good. Like, literally, I feel like that was how they were writing the movie. Like, this scene in a vacuum is fine. They go in, they're traveling with the bad guy who's like kind of reluctantly with them, and they don't quite trust the bad guy yet. They're questioning if he can be redeemed, and they're about to get sent to punishment, and the bad guy storms in and goes, no, take me instead. Boom. That's a scene. That's a scene. That's a good scene. That, you know, you could screw it up later by not being consistent with that bad guy's redemption arc, but that is a scene. The time in which it took for like, oh, I'm sorry, do you need a 5-minute deliberation? Do you need a trial scene with the honeybee queen to figure all this out? I don't really see what more amount of dialogue would have gotten this across.
And this scene pretty much sums up the entire movie. Like, things just happen, a problem arises, and then gets solved immediately, and there's no real consequence to anything that anyone says or does. Yeah.
What the heck was this?
And then get solved immediately, and there's no real consequence to any.
What is this? What is this? What am I looking at? I'm sorry, am I blocking it? Just so yeah, I want to make sure everyone can see. Let's what's going on here? All right, what are we looking at? What am I seeing? What am I seeing? Why is there Home Improvement Tim Allen there? Is this it's I'm uncomfortable. Is this like those are his legs and Tim Allen's face is the censorship? This level of being unfunny, I think, needs some kind of medical attention. Moving on.
Because it's a kid's movie. This is literally a movie about Super Mario, a video game for children.
Are you going to debunk it? You're going to actually debunk it, or just say that they're wrong and not give any argument yourself?
Why are you taking it so seriously?
Oh, gotta have the Shreks. Gotta have the random Shreks in the background. Dude, like, I could just picture, like, this dude or his editor or whoever made this decision, just, like, making the collage of Shreks and just, like, chuckling to themselves as they put random Shreks in a movie, in a movie review that has nothing to do with Shrek.
Thank you, Mr. Strawman. That brings me to another point.
Wait, that's not a straw man, though. People literally say this. Why do you have a straw man say that?
Why are you taking it so seriously? Thank you, Mr. Strawman.
Why are you saying thank you, Mr. Strawman? I've seen people say this. People actually, a straw man means you made it up. A straw man means you created the opposing argument and it's not actually something that people say. I even was saying earlier that I kind of like praised the whole like putting a straw man, and there are ways that you could put like a straw man character to represent a straw man and like teach people what a straw man is and teach people about arguments, but you shouldn't put the straw man and have them say the argument that you're trying to debunk, because a straw man means that you're wrong. Like, when you argue with a straw man, it means that you're wrong and you're making up a position to argue against. So I think you're not really understanding what a straw man is.
Having just done videos recently about Zootopia 2, Hoppers, and now the Mario movie, it's become so painfully obvious to me that
Okay, so this is the thesis. This was what he said in the beginning. So after almost 9 minutes of very surface level criticism, something weird about girlies, and 2 pretty gross jokes, I guess 3 with whatever this Tim Allen thing is, we finally get to the actual thesis.
like kids' entertainment has unilaterally become much worse. You're just an old millennial who's
I have not seen Hoppers or Zootopia 2, so I cannot speak on them. I would assume that they are both more high quality than the Mario Galaxy movie.
I'm talking about movies from like 2016, 2014, 2012. Now, when I watch these modern movies and I think to myself how dumb and brain rotty they are, I often wonder if I'm just like
Oh, he did not like Hoppers or Zootopia 2. Okay, I don't know much about either of those movies, so I can't really speak on them.
off. So in preparation for this video, I also went back and watched the Lego movie from 2014.
Okay, so he's comparing the Lego movie to the Mario Galaxy movie. That's actually a good comparison.
Between the very thick satire and self-aware humor, like there's actually a somewhat interesting story being told, and it wraps up at the end with like the real world dad and son coming together. You know?
Okay, he said it's a real good story, but why? What is it? You can't just say it's good and not say why. Is that actually what reviewing stuff is? Is reviewing stuff actually just saying something is good and then just moving on? Like, have I been overthinking this? Because I've been doing this for a long time. Is that really all I had to do? Because I thought getting into this that you had to do more than that.
We got to hug her.
Like I was saying earlier, I think what
Yeah, he didn't. He just said the dad and son had a nice moment, but he didn't say how it reinforced the themes and how it has character arcs and all that sort of stuff. He didn't use any of those terms. He just said it was good. It had a story.
the reason why
But why did the Lego movie have a story and why did the Mario Galaxy movie not? I agree with you. You just need to demonstrate how.
this movie seems to work so much better, even though it feels similar, is because the Lego company doesn't take their IP like super seriously.
It's not so much taking it seriously or not taking your franchise seriously. I don't really think it's that. It's more so that Nintendo has a specific, very strict brand image on their characters that disallows doing a lot with them, especially Mario. I do think that that's an issue, but that's not the be-all end-all issue. I do think that he's laying a little too much of the blame at Nintendo's feet here, and I do think that Illumination and the people behind the movie need to take a little bit of responsibility as well. I do think it does have to do with just knowing they can get away with it. I think really it's really a motivation thing. Like he said, the Sonic movies were better, and now he's saying the Lego movie was better. I think that the Lego movie and the Sonic movies knew that they had to do something with their stories to make their movies stand out more. I know Lego's a big franchise, but I don't think people would have just seen the Lego movie if it was as shallow as the Mario movie. I think it would have been much more of an uphill battle. I think a big part of the Lego movie's reputation is that it had themes. Same thing with the Sonic movie. They had to be better. Mario did not have to be. They did not have that fire under their butts for Mario. They just don't. They can get away with it and still be $1 billion movies without doing what stories should have. They're just on different levels as a franchise. I think that there is a criticism here with talking about how Nintendo holds on to its IP as opposed to others, sure. But I also think that even within Nintendo's more strict rules, I think that Illumination could have done something more. Here's what it is. I don't see a conversation where the people from Illumination were like, yeah, we're going to have the Mario Galaxy movie have this character arc for Mario, and Miyamoto was like, no, Mario's not allowed to have a character arc. Like, I'm sure that there are certain kinds of character arcs that could have been shot down by Nintendo because they're very careful with how they use the character, but I don't think that it's like the be all end all. I think it's basically Illumination got a hold of Mario, they went through the motions, they did kind of whatever, and they were like, yeah, this is enough, and they just kind of put it out there. And that's more of the issue than some kind of like, it's because this company takes their IP more seriously. I don't get what you mean with being held on brand image, like what you want Mario to suddenly be mean and unfriendly or something. No, it's that Mario as a video game character is meant to be a blank slate because you as the player play as him. So how Mario is portrayed in every video game is very carefully curated so that you as the player can still feel like you are him. It's a very delicate balance. And then from there they have the Yahoo and the stuff that Mario does between that, and they find this balancing act of making you feel like you are Mario and that Mario is still a character. And in order to do this, Mario games don't have stories that involve character arcs. Mario does not undergo an arc where he changes as a person within the games that you play with him. And that's fine for a video game because in a video game, the value you get out of the video game is how you as a person interact with the gameplay and you solving the problem of the game to beat the game. That is the social function of video games. So they don't need a story like a movie does. And then you take that character and you translate it to a movie, you have to change a lot of stuff. You don't have to make Mario grittier to give him a character arc. He can still be a pretty happy-go-lucky character and still have like character flaws. But the things that you do have to do with Mario is that you have to make him different in a way that kind of shatters him being a suitable playable character in a video game, which would be fine. I don't really know if Nintendo would have stopped them from doing that. I really don't.
I find the Lego movies so much more fun to watch because like they're actually Legos, you know what I mean? The fire is Lego and the water is Lego. And the ways they found to visually represent the movie are far more interesting to me than the Mario movie, which is basically just like, what if this stuff was kind of real? But that's all beside.
I don't think that's a fair criticism. Wait, are you saying that what should it have looked like then? Should it have looked like the video game? I reject that criticism like completely. That is not a valid criticism at all. Should they have been made out of Lego? Like you're saying the Lego movie was cool because the special effects were Lego, like the fire was actually Lego and the water was actually Lego, like wasn't that cool? What is the equivalent for the Mario movie? What could they have done? Why are you holding them to this standard? Like visually, the Mario movie actually looked really good. You could have had the exact same visuals and just told a better story. I don't think that the visuals harmed it at all. They translated that world so well. That's an insanely bad take. He's literally just saying that because the Lego movie did cool stuff with its Lego stuff and the Mario movie didn't have it's because it's not a gimmick. It's literally that shallow. It's literally the Lego movie had a gimmick to how it was portrayed visually. And that gimmick was very cool. It was done very well. But it's literally just saying the Lego movie had a gimmick. Mario movie doesn't have a gimmick. Therefore, Mario movie is bad because it doesn't have gimmick. That's actually how shallow this is. Is every movie that doesn't have a gimmick shallow? Like, that's so ridiculous. And like, show me the parts of the Mario Galaxy movie that were done poorly visually then, as compared to the Lego movie. I'm sure you could find them. I'm sure, like, I didn't really have any issues with the visuals of the Mario Galaxy movie. It was not one of my criticisms at all.
And the further back you go, the more seriously people used to take kids' entertainment.
When I started to put these things together,
That Mr. Rogers had child psychologists on staff when they were writing their shows.
Okay, so I get what he's saying, that there was like times where there was, for Mr. Roger, they had actual child psychologists. For Blue's Clues, yeah, Blue's Clues has like some like crazy like writing rules. Like the way that Blue's Clues is written is like super precise to like make sure that the kids are following along. There's like something with that. And then like compared to Cocomelon, like that sucks. Yeah, sure. But like we still have Sesame Street, like, and back when Mr. Rogers was around, there was shows that were slop too. Like, wouldn't there have been? I mean, is this actually a trend that is specifically now, or are you just saying it's now to make it sound more sensationalist? That's my main question. There could be specific issues that have to do with now, but I feel like there's a bit of a recency bias to this. Like there were, I mean, like in the 80s, there was like Transformers in the 80s was just like garbage to sell toys. You know, like it's just they just made a show that was super shallow just so they could sell toys. Like that was a big problem in the 80s. So it's not always recency bias. You're just finding an example of a really high quality show for kids like Mr. Rogers or Blue's Clues or Sesame Street. I guess you wouldn't say Sesame Street because Sesame Street is still on. So that would defeat your argument. I guess that in good faith, some things you could look at. You could look at how Cocomelon is the most popular thing that kids watch. And back then it was Blue's Clues. I don't know what actually numbers wise was the most watched. That's a problem. That we could say that has to do with now. That I could give you. But I think that you're just focusing on the wrong things.
I mean, if anything, I think we should take them more seriously because they are kids' movies. Media you consume when you're a kid plays a huge role in shaping your personality, your sense of humor, how you see the world. Like,
yeah, I've said that. I think that's a really solid take where it's, yeah, like kids' movies not only are important to criticize, but they're important to but they're also like, there's an extra importance to them because they do shape young people for throughout their lives. Yeah, I mean, like you still could say stuff good, you know, in the middle of a lot of stuff. It's just when you say something that is this solid of a take, and it's after, you know, I just feel like you kind of mess up your credibility when you say, I want to see Yoshi's cloaca. I just think you kind of screw that up.
Stuff like this doing for soft kid brains today, aside from keeping their attention with jingling keys for 90 minutes.
Yeah, I kind of said the same thing. But he's also not saying how. Like he didn't analyze enough. So like he's kind of skipping a step here. So he took like 12 minutes and he was like so he kind of abandoned the recap. You notice this? This is weird. He was recapping the movie from the beginning. Look, he's like Lumas. And then he goes, they found Yoshi. And then he goes, and then the Luma shows up and Princess Peach goes off and then Mario and Luigi are with Bowser and there's the fight scene. And then he goes to this and then he gets to this kids movie section and he just abandons the recap. Isn't that weird? It's almost like he was writing this script so that he was going to go through the plot of the whole movie. And then he just kind of in the middle just switched to this other subject. That's so weird. Anyway, I just think he's skipping steps here. So, and I think that's an indication of how this isn't organized enough to properly give this good message. Like for 12 minutes, he was just kind of recapping little random things in the movie and giving little criticisms and bad jokes. And then he gets to the thesis. But this time in the video is supposed to be you setting up what the movie actually did wrong, what it actually did incorrectly. You have to actually argue why it's a weaker story, why it doesn't resonate. And then this part is where you say why that's important. You haven't argued that the movie didn't resonate. So saying that it's important that it needs to doesn't make any sense if you're not actually going to argue how it didn't do that.
I'm doing a video about Toy Story 2, so I watched it recently as well. There's a huge slow chunk of that movie where Woody is watching his old 1950s like TV show, you know, and he watches it for a really long time. Pixar would never do this today because they're scared of kids, you know, looking away for even just 2 seconds.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that one bit. I think you're pulling that out of nowhere. You don't need this example. This is a very flawed example saying that there's a scene in Toy Story 2 where Woody watches his old thing for a while. Like you could just say that a lot of movies today are a little too fast paced. I don't really buy that. I don't really buy that comparison. I think that it sounds really profound as you say it, but I don't think that that's actually the case. There wasn't really that much in the rest that I thought was super interesting. Yeah, I'd say that my main criticism of this dude, it's just media illiteracy, guys. You know, that's kind of always the end of this is probably someone who like genuinely enjoys media and like watching stuff and does want stuff to be better, but doesn't really know how to properly argue it and doesn't really know how to see what needs to be fixed in sorts of stuff like this. So he ends up resorting to, when he makes these videos, doing like surface level things and surface level criticisms and getting bogged down with like going on the wrong stuff. And then he says something that does make sense about like how kids movies, you know, should be taken more seriously in this. But I just think that there's a very big weakness when it comes to the writing of this and the way that this is argued. Yeah. And the girlies stuff was weird. That was definitely odd. I mean, how often does he post? He seems to post pretty often. 1 month ago, 1 month ago, 1 month ago, 1 month ago, 1 month ago. So in the 1 month ago, so that would be between, that was a member exclusive. Let's just count the, oh, he has a couple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. So those 5 videos in 1 month within the 1 month ago. And then there's been 5 in this month. And this month has 11 days left as of doing this stream. He posts pretty often. I think it could possibly be an issue that he feels like he has to keep up with so many videos. That, and combined with the fact that he does little animations in them, that is just going to take more time. I think his actual analysis suffers because he's putting out too much. I think he's not able to properly give the attention that is necessary. But I think also it's a vicious cycle. I think he's someone who wasn't really capable of giving really deep analysis to stuff in the first place. So from there he gets popular, and then he can't really he keeps doing the output, and it becomes a vicious cycle. He wants to put out a lot of videos because these are the amounts of videos that works the best for his business model, and they're all kind of shallow, and it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. And that's probably what this person has been kind of stuck in with all this sort of stuff. So yeah, kind of an interesting specimen for sure. Maybe I'll revisit him at some point. You know, I wouldn't say that like, you know, he's like complete trash or whatever. I don't think I would really watch him, to be honest. But I think it's a bit weak. I think it's pretty surface level, shallow analysis. I think he could do better. I think if he actually examined these issues, I think he could do a lot better. I feel like people with 4 million subscribers who've been doing it for 10 years, I think they're kind of just going to be who they are at that point. I don't think there's much room for real strong change and improvement there. Perhaps I'm wrong. Perhaps he could step it up, you know, but yeah, that's kind of basically all I have to say about him. So yeah, that's Alex Meyers. By the way, he's 38. Oh, he's 30. Oh, he's 10 years older than me. Huh. So he started when he was my age.